Duty Black Ops 3. So, in the last part I kind of went on a bit of a passionate tirade about Microsoft than the usual, but when this game and all the themes it discusses are about that, well,
There's something I
it's kind
have
of
to
hard
tell
not
you.
to.
Where's Hendrix?
He's asleep. I'm running him through some DNI diagnostics. Can I trust you?
Can I trust you?
I always
I'll gotta tell you
feel
the
like
truth.
somebody's watching
When Taylor's team
me.
uncovered the Black Project, they threatened to go public. The CIA couldn't take the risk. They were called back to be silenced.
Taylor's still speaking to us, even though we're off the grid. How can that be?
I think his DNI has become corrupted. That's why we couldn't track his team's location.
But we can track the doctor.
Should be a radio that plays here in a second.
Yesterday saw some of the worst fighting in the history of the conflict.
It's like right here.
Ramsey Station, one of the last remaining strongholds for the Egyptian army, was subjected to a large ground assault by NRC forces. While Allied forces successfully defended the perimeter, it is believed that a small group of enemy soldiers managed to infiltrate the station itself and disable the directed energy air defense system. The outcome was perhaps inevitable. It appears that the NRC may have finally established dominance over Cairo.
There's a long history of links between the CIA and unorthodox military operations. There is every reason to believe the claims that there may be further revelations regarding the precise nature of Project Corvus.
Alright, I think it's over. But, yeah, anyway. Really great volumetric lighting in this game. I think that's just one of this game's strongest suits is just the lighting. The texturing left a little bit to be desired, I think, but I mean, there's nothing that, like, some normal maps or an HD texture pack mod of some sort couldn't have fixed, I'm sure. The problem is the campaign does not have any form of actual mod support, thus why nobody's really modded it, because you think, oh, it's been 11 years, somebody would have tried by now, right? Yeah, and there were people who were able to try, and they were able to really come up blank outside of maybe free run, but you could technically make a campaign out of the free run logic in the multiplayer, because that's the way that the free run works. It's still using a fair amount of the campaign, and all those characters from the multiplayer, they were cut from the campaign, and so were the Gobblegums. Because before they took the darker tone that the campaign did, Ruin and a lot of the multiplayer characters were actually supposed to be in this story mode. Which is why, oh, well, why would you actually have all this class shit and all these hero characters? That's why. So, when they had cut that shit and just turned it into generic protagonist with a guy's vocals who they found on the street, well, that makes sense now, don't it? I'm gonna grab another outfit here. I'm gonna do arms dealer. Or am I? Unless I go rogue. They do have a lot of really nice outfits for our guy. The problem is just the facial customization could have been a lot nicer. But, hold on, what's in the helmets? Okay, yeah. The thing about the, I'd say especially what it was with Demon Within, and this is really where the story gets screwy, because this is where they really start to have Corvus take over right after the mission is done. It's the mission right after this. Sandcastle. That's where Corvus really starts taking over. But Demon Within is really, once again, like the rest of the game has been doing throughout, just hammering in on this idea that you're dreaming, and they show this other shit that gets more trippy as it goes.
His diagnostics
Hendrix as
showing
well is
some
being corrupted here by
irregularities.
the Corvus virus.
It could be a minor calibration issue, but I don't
Really
want to
nice
ignore it.
visuals. It's just
Especially
spooky
in light
shit
of
where they
his recent
turn him into like a
outbursts.
fucking totem and set him
You
on
know
fire.
what I'm talking about. That's why you didn't tell him about the tracker he slipped Salim.
We're about to launch an assault alongside the Egyptian army.
Really great
How do we
visual
make sure his
storytelling,
head
just
stays
like
down?
Ghost
I can
again,
adjust
all
his
the
meds
crumbling
remotely.
fucking rocks
It
and
should
shit.
help level him out. But we can't let him compromise our chance to grab Taylor.
It won't come to that.
And
Kane.
the Frozen Forest theme
I'll make sure of it.
throughout this is starting to become more and more desperate. There's this theme of, once again, eyes, and you know, this is another thing that Call of Duty was doing before they switched over to anime. I'll tell you one big thing I don't
Egyptian
like
allies
about the
are in
anime
position.
eyes is like
they have
when
the building surrounded.
they portray this shit as fucking creepy in this game. And you think that makes me aroused to want to fucking bang some anime girl with eyes that are like that? Oh, no thank you. I don't want to know what Corvus is doing with the anime characters.
Waiting for our go.
Big eyes are evil.
Shit. Kane! We just lost the doctor's vitals.
What the hell does that mean?
It means he's dead.
Means
Or
he's
about to
fucking
be dead.
dead. They're gonna attack us with
Khalil,
Titanfall.
have your men hold position. We're coming in for a landing.
We're landing
We'll
in.
sweep the embassy.
FBI, open up.
Await our all clear.
Oh, they really opened up all right. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Now, there's a funny bug with this,
Hold
because the way
on!
they animated the sequence, it's not finished. The drop shit duplicates there. You know, they have two drop ships.
Manticore operating with a human pilot.
Looks
If
like
you go
Sarah
back
Hall
in,
in
well,
the
then
cockpit.
the new one's loaded, so there's not two anymore, but...
You got a fix on Taylor and Moretti? Where are they heading?
Negative.
Then the only way to Taylor is through Hall. We can't afford to lose him again.
We're gonna try and take down Sarah Hall with the rocket launcher and the fucking EMP device. And we just, and this is one thing I love about this game, is there's just a shitload of robots.
Manticore operating
Oh,
at 70%.
that fucking, a whole magazine took down for health by 30%.
Hall now operating at 40%.
Yeah,
Her
the
shields
grenade
won't hold
launcher
much
is
longer.
overpowered. The War Machine.
Hall's on the move.
This is the most overpowered
Manticore
weapon
energy
in
down
the
to
game.
10%.
You could take down Hall
She's our only
in like
Taylor.
a minute
Bring
straight.
her down.
Eyes up. Hall's taking higher ground.
Now she's like scripted to have to jump at some point, but basically, in order
Javelin
to
missiles
kill her,
incoming!
it's not particularly fucking difficult. You can use the fucking grenade launcher, and then just fucking shoot this bitch with a light machine gun, and there you go.
She's down.
Absolutely
She's down.
fucking nailed.
Hurry,
Bye-bye.
you have to interface before we lose her.
Fucking nailed her.
We need
Bye-bye.
a full extract. Recordings, intel, memories, everything. Something's got to give us a lead on Taylor.
So this is what we do now? Kill our own because they blew open a conspiracy in our own backyard.
You don't know what this'll do.
I know. And I'm sorry.
Now, one thing I think would have helped the campaign is if they had done the thing like Force Unleashed did, where your outfit actually changes depending on the location, automatically. Now, I know that could be
What
kind of
is that?
frustrating at times if you just wanted to, like,
Kane.
you know,
Hendrix.
use your own outfit, and there were benefits and trade-offs to this system, but here is us in the Frozen Forest. Now, this is the first time we go to it, and there's going to be some dialogue here that I don't think I've ever heard anyone really talk about, so
Mr. Kruger,
listen to me, Kruger.
I don't think you quite appreciate or even understand what I'm telling you.
Listen to me, Kruger. I don't think you quite understand or appreciate what I'm telling you. It's a bunch of dead NRC
What is
guys.
that? What is that? Is that a baby?
It's a baby.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Is anyone there?
These lines don't play in the final Steam release for me. I don't know why. They're broken. They used to work, and this is why I went with this old version, because they still do.
Oh, I understand, Dr. Salim. I just don't agree on how your perspective, your limited perspective, should influence my decisions regarding the project's future. The Corvus program has been an unmitigated success. You should take pride in that.
So he says, Kruger says, I don't understand how your perspective, your limited perspective, should dictate how I run the Corvus program. It's been an unmitigated success. You should take pride in that. As well as that, there's like the particles in the Steam version like this. They don't work like they're supposed to. This is the way they're supposed to fucking work with all the volumetric lighting. This shit got altered in the final Steam release. So, for me, it wasn't working. This shit was just straight up broken. Most of the fancy volumetric lights have been lowered in resolution or outright removed. And they did this last patch of sorts, this quote-unquote optimization fix. They didn't even fucking say it was. They just said it was like a minor bug fix. Ironic. It ultimately downgraded a lot of the visuals and the particles in the game. And if you go back to an old version like this, thanks to repacking and piracy sites, well, you can actually fucking play this shit properly. I've purchased this game legally, so this is just so I can have a working offline backup copy. Obviously, if you can avoid it, don't do any piracy. Don't do illegal shit. Purely educational purposes only, YouTube. Don't murder me. Thank you. Also, they put their volumetric light just up in the middle of fucking nowhere, but you can see the effects are quite fantastic. I would say, and the way that these trees are almost made is like brains and electrical signals going through your brain, and they're all connected to different brains, just like they are connected to like a Wi-Fi signal or shit like that. And it's almost like Tesla coils with this big ass fucking lightning and shit. That's really cool.
Please listen to what I'm saying. The exchange of information is a two-way street. If you remove humans from the diagnostic loop, there is no way to predict or control or influence.
So, he said, if you please listen to what I'm saying, the flow of information is a two-way process. If you remove humans from the process, there's no way to control our influence. And that's the problem with the AI automation, right? Is he wanted to ensure that there was some human connectivity, so humans are interacting with other humans. But Kruger doesn't give a shit, and he just wants results here and now. Very short-sighted thinking, once again, just like typical Activision businessmen and all these stories that keep coming out in the news about, you know, how capitalism is bad or whatever the fuck else, but it's not capitalism itself that's bad. It's these bad businesses that are making shitty, arrogant decisions that fuck over shit because they're only thinking short-term. So, you know, that's the fucking problem. Now, if not for capitalism, they wouldn't be fucking selling this game. Good luck selling this shit with communism. Ain't gonna fucking happen.
We're standing on the verge of a brave new world here.
Brave new world here. Truly something that Destiny could never provide. A brave new world.
What did you do to me?
I tried to interface with your DNI. Something went wrong. Can you hear me?
That line, that conversation just doesn't play for some fucking reason. I don't know why. It doesn't play in the Steam version, so no fucking clue. This sequence got totally broken. I mean, the sun is supposed to be there, but it's not in the Steam version. I checked. They've removed it for some reason, so it's just gone. But here's the Black Ops 2. I think that's the Navy SEAL soldier. You can even see the American flag on them. It's a nice port of the model, but it's just here for some reason. I really don't know why. Like, they're all just around this tree. Like, I don't know why the fuck they had the Black Ops 2 soldier. I imagine it was probably some sort of placeholder for the Egyptian Egyptian soldiers over yonder, and they just didn't fucking put the Egyptian army in, so they just used the Navy SEALs instead. Like, I can't figure out a reason why these are here, other than just, I guess they put in the wrong model, because there's a lot of, you know, unfinished shit, like I've shown. You can even go through the screenshot gallery and start straight up seeing unfinished images of the level life from the alpha of the game with the frame rate counter of it and everything. Zurich is where the program will fulfill its true potential. Now back there, you know, they were saying we're on the precipice of a brave new world, so... This, most people were able to put together that this is Corvus infecting my mind. So this is my brain, which is why there's like 4 lights up there. This brain's a lot healthier, but compared to all those, not so much. So I'm gonna just...
This can't be.
I don't know, pick up baby Jesus here.
Kane! Can you hear me? Are you seeing this? Say something! Please!
Oh no. I can't put him down. And then his baby Jesus, Corvus, I guess, baby Satan, infects my mind with skin particles.
That date. It's right before the whole place blew up. Right before 300,000 people died.
You see how they're all in their own hospital beds too.
This
just like I was.
Is where I was born. A brief moment of agony. Then darkness.
Who is that voice?
Corvus.
It all started here. The gas. Their experiments let a chemical agent escape into the atmosphere.
So Corvus, when they adjusted some shit, as you can see,
voice, do you recognize
fucked up
it?
everything. And there they are, they all die.
I remember, but it's almost like it was a dream. Like it was happening to someone else.
Because it was.
Tell me everything you remember.
The CIA sent us in to investigate an alarm triggered underneath the old coalescence facility. We figured the Immortals had been tipped off.
Yup. And that's the thing. Taylor and his team here were never really sent in.
The room.
It was another team entirely that Taylor had fought alongside.
Clear.
Fucking human test subjects.
Great. This is in breach of every WA ethics mandate in the book. That's all I fucking need. Hall, call it in. Let's go immortal hunting.
And go hunting for them Singapore motherfuckers. Well, I think we did a very thorough job at that, but
We
they
all
went
knew that we had just
hunted a bunch of the rest of the
CIA
city.
black program that had been buried for a decade.
Now it's pre-rendered.
A program that in all probability had led directly to the Singapore disaster. We called it in, and we were ordered back to the Black Station for debriefing.
Quote-unquote debriefing.
All right, you know the routine. Secure the area. I'm going to pull all sensitive information from their servers. Go.
Boop.
Oh!
Taylor, you okay?
Yeah. Getting some glitches in my optics.
COVID-19.
Let me help you recalibrate.
So, Hull's insecurity is that, you know, she wanted to be a hero. She wanted to help people, right? Just like
Can you
old
hear
Captain
me?
Walker from Spec Ops The Line.
I know what this is. This is Bastogne.
But she
I
wasn't
studied
able
it
to
at
do
the
that.
academy.
She was a murderer.
I cited it
She
in my
was
final
a
paper as
Black
one of
Ops
the greatest
unit.
examples of courage and bravery in military history. One of those battles that show you what you're really made of, who you really are. I used to dream about it. Follow me. I'll show you what I mean.
Congratulations, Private. You drew the shortest straw of all. Welcome to Bastogne. Now get your ass to the front line.
How is this possible? We're on the battlefields of World War II.
This is really where you start to see the mirrors to your character and the way they were thinking as well.
This has to be an illusion. It has to be.
My dude, he was thinking that he would be his hero. Save the day. Go help people. He never did. You notice how every place we go to, we always leave it in a state of disarray. And as well as that, I like how Hall's delusions of, you know, grandeur with all of the medical bays and shit have just fallen from the sky. I mean, the sky is literally fallen apart. There's a ton of metaphorical sayings that they have taken quite literally throughout this game, and I really enjoy that form of kind of blunt but funny, dreamy storytelling. Because, yeah, in dreams, this shit tends to happen to me a lot, too. Where there'll be some blunt form of storytelling in the weird dream I have, and, yeah, they captured the surreal, fucking weird nature of dreams just perfectly in this game. Bye-bye. Because when you're done with this, you are super fucking confused the first time you play. And then when, like any normal dream, you re-examine it over and over, you're like, okay, what the fuck does the meaning behind the tanks in World War II mean? And all of this shit, right? With the trees falling backwards. What's the meaning behind the ravens? Well, the meaning behind the ravens, most people are able to figure, okay, death. But then what's the other stuff, like the radio and a lot of the other conversations? And the radios are good context for the co-op, you know, briefing. They give you a mission briefing in the, you know, the actual safe house as well. So you can literally physically read it in a place. That's pretty immersive. And that's pretty cool. And when they die, they disappear into like a puff of smoke. The ravens haven't quite caught up just yet. She's still in the delusions that she's got, but that's the way that most Call of Duty players think as well. They're gonna be a hero. They're gonna save people. Doing a real good job of that. And yeah, the World War II shit had been overdone at this point, and, you know, nobody's really fucking done World War II in a way that's been compelling since. There are very few things you can do with World War II nowadays to make it interesting, and that's just the problem with the source material, is it's just simply so locked down that you'd basically have to make some sort of Wolfenstein shit for it to be any good. Also, since they were short on time, they just turned Dave Anthony into a Nazi. I don't know why. But if you actually do look closely, it's Dave Anthony. It's the Alpha Squad. So they didn't even bother making him like a new likeness or anything. They just fucking straight up turned Dave Anthony into one of the Nazi soldiers. Yeah, that's fucking wild. But anyway, I do like the aero aesthetic sort of look of all of this shit, you know? As most people would say, aesthetic and art style. It is not so much aesthetic, because aesthetic is just simply trash. Aesthetic is a candy bar wrapper you fucking throw away. Aesthetic is disposable. Art style, different story. Art direction, right? That's what I mean. Infectious video essay language, my bad. But there we are. And throughout this, you can see all their little fucking tools and all this other shit they got. They got the fucking stick grenades and... It would be nice if I could fucking... Oh shit, I blew up a grenade. But no, I do like the physics on the table. There's some decent attention to detail. Nowadays, they don't even fucking bother. Like half, if not every fucking object. Excuse me. Half, if not every object, is totally fucking nailed down. And you can barely fucking use any of this cool shit.
Why are we here, Sarah?
That's another cool transition from day to
Don't
night.
you know?
Dark
so
side?
much suffering, so much pain.
Dark side?
It wasn't just the enemy soldiers.
There's this like halfway between where it's like kind of fucking, I don't know, like some Harry Potter or Twilight shit. It's blue. See, that's probably more what it looks like in fucking Call of Duty World War II. Light side. Dark side, 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 light side. Alright, that's enough of that. But yeah, the lighting here is really nice, aside from, well, Nintendo 64 trees here for some reason. Thanks. Probably due to level of detail issues, but otherwise. Yeah, the lighting, the God rays, and the volumetric lighting here is great. This shit just looked and fucking ran better like a decade ago. And see, when they have a direct like spotlight on the ground, it looks really good. Now there's a bunch of moments I'm gonna fucking stop here and listen to the dialogue, because Dr. Salim is talking, you know, in Hall's brain, right? Which, you know, kind of compounds on that theory that she was one of those, clearly the children from the experiments over at the Singapore facility, right? And she even later in this draws the frozen forest in the same way as those kids did with those drawings, right? Because there were all the drawings on the walls. So right here.
Reluctant to resort to the use of physical restraints. I may be forced to do just that if we are unable to achieve mental stabilization through a combination of drugs and therapy. For the safety of myself and other staff members, it is imperative that we take steps to minimize the threat posed by patients gripped in the throes of CD.
CD, cognitive dissonance.
To the use of physical restraints. I may be forced to do just that if we are unable to achieve mental stabilization through a combination of drugs and therapy. For the safety of my...
So, throughout this, it's like they're conditioning these people to accept a lot of the bullshit that's being forced down their throats using a mix of hypnosis and drugs. I mean, this is the sort of thing that I get at with the Xbox One, right? The transition from the 360 to the One was not natural. None of this shit was ever natural. Does this look like a natural or a fun transition to a new next-gen console to you? Of course not.
And other staff members.
With how many loops I had to jump through to get a fraction of the fucking enjoyment of this game that I could just playing it normally. You know, playing an old game like Black Ops 2 or even Call of Duty Ghosts, that is way more effort to have a fraction of the enjoyment that I could have. The reasoning behind my enjoyment of this is like the exact fucking polar opposite of most people's. I like the world, and most people tend to not enjoy the world of this game. They think it looks like some generic sci-fi shit. Well, I like the way this looks. I like the Transformers look, I like all the big-ass robots, and I like the Frutiger Aero Windows 7 thing, and the whole technology and computer theme they've got going on, because I grew up with a lot of games like Tron Evolution and Disney Universe and some other games like that. It has that same sort of look, but obviously it's a lot more like hyper-violent throughout. And that's a cool, you know, looking theme, but it's not what most people expected from Black Ops 3. They're coming off of Black Ops 2, and they don't expect a weird horror story about the dangers of tech. They expect what the fuck happened after Raul Menendez, and they didn't get that. There were little flashes of that here and there, and maybe a few computer terminals, but it's left suspiciously vague, like it's been fucking erased. Like, someone has gone through this shit and they have erased something that happened and they do not want you to see it. Well, why? What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened to all the characters? And Black Ops 7 is not really a fucking apt story that fills in the blank between this and Black Ops 2. It's a load of horse shit. That didn't do anything. It was not the sequel to Black Ops 2. This was. But even still, Black Ops 3 in the timeline, thanks to this huge gap of like 30 to 40 fucking years, would actually be more like Black Ops 4, seeing how a bunch of shit has happened in between and could easily be its own campaign. but we never got that, you know? If we're gonna just play as some random schmuck anyway, why the fuck wouldn't they just make a campaign that takes place after the aftermath of, like, the bad ending, which is apparently the one they wanted to go with, and then it transitions over to the Winslow Accord? That didn't happen in Black Ops 7. They didn't show that. And they sure as fuck didn't show the aftermath of what happened when I had attacked the Coalescence Corporation, or Taylor had, attacked the Coalescence Corporation. They don't fucking show the aftermath of that shit. And they were going to in Black Ops 4. It was a cut campaign mode called Career. And it was like the war mode from Call of Duty World War II, but it was 2 versus 2, and it was all kinds of crazy shit. It's what happened with Gunfight in 2019 Modern Warfare and why that's 2v2. You know, it's the same shit, but ultimately they fucked it up in development, and it got switched 17 times, and basically when it finally came out, it was beyond recognition with Black Ops 7. They totally took it and screwed the pooch by adding a bunch of nonsensical nostalgia bait shit instead of doing some new stuff like Black Ops 3 was here. Because for all the things you might be able to complain about with Black Ops 3, you can't say it wasn't trying new stuff. Really interesting. But anyway, let's continue.
Close thy patience, great.
So there's a few ways that you can find this dialogue, and what really would have helped is if they had put like some sort of visual indicator, like where's a table, where's a therapy recorder. They had a model for that and everything, but like a table here, put a spotlight and a therapy recorder there, put some computer there, right? This is like plot relevant information to understanding the character of Hall, but you'll never fucking see it because it's hidden off in the background with nothing pointing to it. You're not gonna go over and know to look in some discrete corner of the fucking map like this tree. What's gonna tell you that this tree is important and has a voice playing? Nothing. So I'm gonna clear out the area here as best I can, and we're gonna fucking listen to the dialogue and what they're talking about, right? Because I've never seen a single person who's played this game ever mention what Salim is saying throughout these various, you know, bits here. I think most people just ran past this shit, thought it looked gay or something, and didn't bother. And then just, you know, moved on with their lives. Alright, those guys are dead. This tree right here.
The effects of cognitive dissonance might potentially be reversed in order to create or enhance positive experiences. While I have some ethical reservations about the realities of what our research involves, I am warned by the idea that my work could lead to further breakthroughs in the treatment of victims of severe psychological trauma. My presentation to the senior committee was, well, extremely well received. Sebastian Kruger himself was very enthusiastic about my recent findings. While many aspects of this field have been well documented over the last decade, Kruger seemed particularly interested in how the negative effects of cognitive dissonance might potentially be reversed in order to create or enhance positive experiences. While I have some ethical reservations about the reality...
What he's talking about is how they might be able to psychologically manipulate people to think that terrible things are good. Basically, they remove this cognitive dissonance in order to try and make it seem like they can expose people to these terrible things and then try to brainwash them and trick them into thinking they're good. In other words, the cognitive dissonance comes from clear bad choices that are being done by business. They're constantly trying to point your attention to Kruger fucking all of this shit up in the background with the voices and shit that they've snuck in here. Why would they put these voice lines in this game? They would not expect a CEO to be playing this game in the first place, much less considering you know, adding a form of visual, you know, identification for these voice lines if they were something that they, you know, perhaps were sneaking in and trying to throw in there, assuming that nobody would see it. It's the same thing with maybe, you know, like Silent Hill and PT and Metal Gear Solid 5 and the Ground Zeroes. What would have helped a lot of that was some sort of visual indicator, but I don't get the impression that a lot of that shit was supposed to have a visual indicator in it, or was supposed to be 100% clear cut, this is what they're saying, because they had their, you know, they were being spied on by their bosses. They were trying to hide this shit from their bosses to warn people about what they were going to fucking do over the next 10 years. They're going to try and fuck you over if you just want to enjoy a video game, and they're going to turn all of this shit into some needless culture war, which they did. And the people who then, you know, went off from Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima, you know, he said he wants to make games that people play with this whole Spartan and everything. There was like this big Roman soldier. And he made a game that you barely fucking play, has a bunch of gay naked people, and you walk through fields where you throw shit at people. Like, what the fuck? We went from Metal Gear Solid 5 to a walking simulator where everyone is constantly crying and also naked. Well, congratulations. You've taken the worst parts of your games and decided to make them the full attraction. That would be like if you go to McDonald's, you order a Big Mac meal, and all they give you is a fucking paper cup for ketchup, and they say that's the meal. No, it's fucking not. You know, how do we go from Metal Gear Solid 5 or games like this with Black Ops 3 to fucking Black Lesbian Ops 3 and, you know, Sex Ops 7 or whatever the fuck else they want to call it. Black Cock 7, if you will. The YouTube poop joke and all. Well, that's how. You know, people would dog on fucking Metal Gear Survive, but at least that was a fucking game, not some extended shitty fucking pornography thing, softcore pornography, if not straight up outright fucking pornography thing, you know, made for retarded 14-year-olds who act too much in theater. No one gives a fuck about your gay Macbeth play. We just want to play a video game. There's a better place for that shit than taking some established franchise and then, you know, fucking it sideways. They certainly had interesting presentation and lighting throughout this, but, you know, it doesn't really undo the problem of the game being, at times, unrewarding to play. Like, if you want the thing to just be like a horror game, that'd be fine. And clearly they did. So that I give them a pass for. But naturally, since they didn't do any better after all these, you know, after all these years, well, I can't exactly give them that pass forever. So there's a few other lines here that they've snuck in, you know, mostly talking about their concerns of the development of the DNI. You have to like go to specific spots in the map. It's a little screwy.
The hell was that?
That's a mongrel.
The dire wolves. At first, they scavenged upon the wounded, the weak. Later, they went after the strong.
Yeah, they also use the hellhounds. Oh, they coming? Oh, they're coming for me. So I need to go back here and find the voice line.
So that's the Kruger himself.
That one I already saw. There's a few others I need to find. Really great lighting. You know, the volumetric effects here with everything kind of going through the trees. It's great. Ah! Love that too. What can I say there, Hall? You got quite a vivid imagination.
Despite his steadfast
Here.
refusal to cooperate or communicate, has nonetheless had a considerable influence on the other patients. In interviews conducted immediately following sessions involving EE-38, multiple subjects recalled near identical accounts of extreme violence and brutality. Cross-referencing their accounts with data on file, it would appear that these recollections correspond with one of E-38's most notorious crimes. Subject E-38, criminal class, has proven somewhat unique within the current group. Despite his steadfast refusal to cooperate or communicate, he has nonetheless had a considerable influence on the other patients.
So there's this subject EE-38 who was some sort of criminal, and he's had quite a influence on some of the other subjects who they may or may not have illegally abducted from their homes, as we found out they did. But it may have been. I gotta find some.
For at least 42 killings carried out on behalf of the 54 immortals.
Zhejiang.
The criminal organization to which he swore allegiance. Most notable among his crimes was the infamous execution of rival gang members in a manner that would become known as the denial of reincarnation. The literal and metaphorical removal of the victim's senses was intended to provoke the fear of absolute death, devoid of hope for an afterlife. At the time of his arrest, Zhejiang was believed to be responsible for at least 42 killings carried out on behalf of
Zhejiang.
to do just that if we are unable to achieve mental stabilization through a combination of drugs and
Okay, so it was like right next to the other one.
rival gang members.
But there's your backstory for Zhejiang. They don't really tell you anywhere else. So Dr. Salim had Zhejiang taken to his DNI experiment after he was, illegally put in there after he'd been arrested for mass murder, about 42 people with a denial of reincarnation, and cutting off fingers, cutting off ears and other shit. They do that in a lot of back in a lot of medieval China and other shit like that. They would do that to make it seem, when you die, that you don't have those limbs or those fingers in the afterlife. Like you're basically a stump in the afterlife. It's why Egyptians would draw themselves like sideways with one eye, because if they looked right at you, well, you might not have every part, right? A lot of the mythologies and the religious shit behind that is pretty interesting to sort of look at. Pretty violent too, no doubt, but that's the thing with violence and foul language throughout these games. It's just good flavor, and that's something that I think too many people get kind of butthurt about is, you can have violence in games and you can write offensive shit. That doesn't mean you agree with everything that you fucking write. Or that, everything you make there doesn't mean you go outside and you go and cut people's fingers off because you've written that into a video game. Fuck no. No. And they show this quite literally as the mission objective. It's delusions. They're not showing Sarah as somebody who is a person who is all okay in the head. They're not indoctrinating or glorifying this shit. No, they quite aptly call it delusional. Right here. That's my mission objective. Because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck happened to Taylor. And as I'm doing that, they are developing Sarah's character. So when people act, they're like, who the fuck is this bitch? Oh, gee, I don't know. Use your fucking eyes and ears and you'll see. They kind of start singing like a bird. As to who the fuck Sarah Hall is here. If you listen to what the fuck they're saying, not so much the tone of voice the words are being said in, well, it starts to make sense. If you start understanding that when Hall had gotten so obsessed with history, as a result of wanting to make it, doesn't that mirror someone like General Shepard? Doesn't that seem to be a consistent trend that these games tend to, like, use? Yeah, it does. These people who get, you know, lost in their own sauce, so to speak, and, you know, they wanna create history, but they end up creating death and sorrow and murder. Yeah, obviously don't go outside and fucking kill people, is what the point of this is.
Listen only to the sound of my voice.
This is probably the most anti-war game they had made.
Imagine yourself in a frozen forest.
It's a little on the nose, but, you know, it's the same thing with Deus Ex. It's, like, kind of cartoonish. And that does sort of help, I think, a lot of the presentation with all of the silly shit, is it makes it more simple and understandable for a lot of people. Regardless of its cartoonish appearance as well, everything is also dirty and worn and lived in. You get a sense of this grenade launcher didn't just fucking straight up come out of the fucking Toys R Us factory. It doesn't look like it's made of plastic. The shit looks like it's been used and worn, and especially in this lighting, you can see all the dents and dirt and scratches on that shit.
Sarah.
Regardless of how fantastic you make these things, if you want me to believe them,
Have you heard it before?
you can help make it seem believable if you add
You forced
little
a DNA
dings to the
interface
dingo
knowing
here.
that it would scramble my mind.
You were dying, Sarah. I had no choice.
Dying.
You died.
You have to focus.
Teabag you.
Try to remember. What happened at the Black Station?
There we go. See, the reason why this dream sequence works and Black Ops 7's dream sequences do not work is because they use the surreal visuals sparingly. And they also, as mentioned, show it as delusional. They don't show it as the whole fucking game is some mirage. And even when the whole game is a mirage and you learn that nothing you were doing was real, you're able to break through that and escape to reality. Even the first mission, which, you know, I've found some pretty, you know, circumstantial evidence that even it might be a dream with the whole, you know, brain thing that keeps popping up. Because why the fuck would the brain thing be there in the first cutscene of the game? And they dwell on that, like Corvus is fucking looking at that brain on that TV. Once again, pops up, the glitching brain, as this indicator that Corvus is in your head now, right? And you saw with the brain back there with the baby. Yeah, I mean, they beat you over the head over and over and over and over and over. The story is stupidly simple to the point of absurdity, you could argue. I would argue. So if you take away the pre-established sort of expectation of fucking Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and just listen to what the fuck they were saying, well, there you go. Now you understand the story. They even talk about cognitive dissonance. I assume they expected this story being so goofy and strange at times, you know, with its presentation would cause a bit of that. And yeah, they don't shy away from it. They just embrace that thing entirely. There's also some nice little, you know, mops and wet floors and shit. You know, just nice details throughout this. They got a bunch of fucking paper on the ground with fucking drawings of eyes. You know, it's almost like the fucking Illuminati and all the other imagery of Freemasonry is being used in this for a purpose. Lots of fucking Illuminati doors with eyes and shit too. You know, it's... You could just say, oh, they just put a bunch of fucking symbols and wings on this door for no fucking reason. Yeah, sure, dog. You can say whatever the fuck you like, just don't say I'm late for dinner. But anyway, yeah, they got other markings throughout this. A circle with an eye in it or something, huh? Because, I mean, what the fuck you call that? What do you call this fucking medical cross? You know what I mean? Or here, the world with the heartbeat monitor. I mean, these are pretty well detailed maps, and I think one thing that's this game's biggest strength is, you know, it uses the cartoonish thing, but it doesn't look grating on the eyes thanks to the addition of dirt, dust, and wear and tear on everything. The amount of just crap that is in
We should have
this
known why we
is
were
great.
recalled to base. We couldn't be trusted. They couldn't take the risk. When people really want to bury secrets,
They tend to bury
they tend
bodies
to bury
right along
bodies
with them.
right along with them. They said they
Good
needed
line.
to run a diagnostics check.
There's all the
That wasn't
brains
true.
on the computers
We
there.
were marked for termination. But by the time we got there, the staff were already dead. Carved to pieces by a 54 Immortals enforcer by the name of Jay Zhang. We knew they'd send a wet work team after us. We had no choice but to cut a deal with the Immortals and get the hell out
They
of
fucking
Singapore.
kill
That
them.
wasn't what happened, Sarah. We saw the footage from the data drives.
This is the footage.
You butchered them in cold blood and made it look like a ritualistic
Also,
killing.
for some reason, the knife is broken.
You denied them their reincarnation. Just like Jay Zhang. Why?
All the computers here, bullet holes. Corvus is infected. Hall, but the rest are not. They don't have the glowing eyes. Little detail there. Now, you don't get to be in here too long because they eventually, you know, throw your ass down to the ground.
Sarah? Why do you think you're here?
But yeah, just this,
What's
right?
so significant about this battle? Why do you dream about it?
I played the details over and over in my mind. I knew I wasn't strong enough to fight this battle. I knew I wasn't brave enough. When I wrote that paper, I hadn't even seen real combat yet. I had read first-hand accounts of what they went through, but I couldn't imagine how they did it, how they held on.
Sometimes you have to hold on.
Sometimes you have to let go. This is the path I must
I'll let
take.
them go.
The path
They had to
we
blast.
both must take.
Alright, also that was another thing that they were briefly doing around this time, was also censoring any Nazi symbols and just turning it to generic World War I cross. Which, I mean, some of the Nazis still did use the cross as opposed to the proper, you know, swastika, but clearly Call of Duty doesn't really give as much of a shit about accuracy when they have revisionist history, World War II, hallucinogenic sequences with the Battle of Bastogne, and fucking cartoonish, blowed up, dum-dums, fucking legs standing up like it's literally some shit out of a parody World War II movie, so... You know what I mean? Like, it's some shit I would see in fucking Top Secret, so... Anyway, I'll continue this in the next part. So far... In summary, throughout this, they've really shown a lot of Sarah Hall's like character, who she is. She believed she wanted to, she wanted to be a hero. She got so obsessed with all of this history and shit, and she wanted to go make some of her own. She wanted to save the world from the bad CIA who was doing all these horrible experiments. And what did it get her? Nothing good fast, that's for sure. Take care. Thanks for watching.